Today marked exactly 6 months since 4 inmates escaped from the Bibb County Jail. On October 16th around 3 a.m., Joey Fournier, Mark Anderson, Chavis Stokes, and Jennifer Barnwell chiseled their way through a day room window, ran across the jail yard, and climbed out through a hole in the fence. Since then, Sheriff David Davis spoke frequently about damage at the jail, including cell locks that don't work. He says inmates often jam the locks so doors don't close properly, and those cells that wouldn't lock were partially to blame for the escape. Commissioners spent $3 million nearly 3 years ago on jail repairs. Tonight, Macon-Bibb commissioners approved another $2 million to install new locks in the jail. Anthony Montalto shows us how they'll pay for that new locking system.
After October's jail escape, we saw a similar move when the county allocated $1 million from the commissary fund for the same purpose. But Sheriff David Davis says this has actually been in the works for a few years, trying to find a lock that'll hold up in jail.
When it's closed, it's closed. It is several thousand pounds of pressure.
All that weight keeping inmates in their cells, all thanks to some new locking technology.
Where those magnets are connected, they're solid right there, and so it has really fixed it to where the inmates can't go in and jiggle the doors.
40 years of pushing on cell doors is a problem Sheriff Davis says was partially to blame for the escape.
It sort of wallows out the places where the bars go into the floor. It also damages the mechanisms in the locks.
Davis says the Bibb jail is one of the first in the state installing this type of lock, and he says others are taking notice.
Representatives from other jails throughout the state come in and look at what we've got and see how it is. We're kind of the guinea pig.
The money comes directly from inmates. Davis says if they buy a candy bar or use the phone, the money they spend goes into the commissary fund. So the inmates themselves are paying for the improvements.
It's not taxpayer money. This is money that is generated through the jail.
Now, the sheriff says the locks are going into the oldest part of the jail, where locks were first installed more than 40 years ago. And he says they're considering whether to bring the new technology to the newer wings of the jail. In Macon, Anthony Montalto, 13 WMAC News.
Sheriff Davis says they use part of the money to make general repairs to the jail. He says in next year's county budget, he's asking for money to improve the air conditioning system and plumbing inside the jail.